Okay, so we're going to start off now. Once again, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining our webinar on understanding New Jersey's earned sick leave law. My name is Inez, and I will be your host today on behalf of YACO, Immigration and American Citizenship Organization. So we here at YACO have been working with the Department of Labor and Workforce Development on getting this important information out to our communities. So the state of New Jersey really wants us to know that we have the right to take care of ourselves and our family. They want us to know that paid sick time is now the law. Okay, so just to also let everybody know before we start off, the presentation will be available on our website afterwards, so you can feel free to go back and review at any time. And we will also have the presentation fully translated in Spanish, and you will also be able to find that on our website a little later on. Okay, so let's begin. So just a quick disclaimer. The presentation provides just general information, not legal opinion. And because of this, we cannot cover case-by-case scenarios during this presentation, but we will provide the necessary contact information throughout. Okay, so the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development has provided this information and related materials as part of the FY22 Cultivating Access, Rights, and Equity Care Grant Program. So the presenters, which is us here at YACO, have been working closely with the New Jersey Department of Labor to keep this information timely and accurate. However, there will often be a delay between official publications of the materials and modifications. So the New Jersey Register and the New Jersey Administrative Code remain the official sources for regulatory information published by the New Jersey Department of Labor. Okay, also, if there are any questions throughout the presentation, you can feel free to submit those at any time through the Q&A button on your Zoom webinar controls, and my colleague Angie will be answering them throughout. Okay. Okay, so here we see the topics that we are going to be covering, in other words, our agenda for today. So we will be discussing a quick introduction on what earned sick leave is. We will also be discussing what exactly the law is, who is covered, what is the notice of employee rights, how does sick leave accrue or how is it accumulated, when can we use our earned sick leave, how are we paid for our sick days, and what are some of the rules for employers. Okay, so to start here is a quick introduction to earned sick leave. So earned sick leave applies to nearly all New Jersey employees and employers to care for not only themselves, but their family. Okay, so employers must ensure that these existing policies are in compliance. So there are a couple different ways that you can refer to earned sick leave law. You can refer to it as paid sick leave. You can refer to it as paid sick time, or you can refer to it as a paid sick day. So it is important to note that they all mean and refer to the same thing, which is the earned sick leave law. Okay, so here we'll address the importance of the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development. So they are the department that oversees the implementation and enforcement of earned sick leave law. Okay, so you can find the required notice of employee rights in 11 different languages, one-page overviews, FAQs, and other helpful resources at mysickdays.nj.gov. You can also learn more on the New Jersey Department of Labor by visiting the website as well. Okay, so what exactly is the law? So the law states that employers must provide employees with up to 40 hours of paid sick time per year to care for themselves and their family. So employers may provide 40 hours upfront, or employees can accrue or accumulate 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. So for example, if you work 40 hours a week, you will earn 5.33 hours of earned sick leave in 4 weeks. So who is covered? This law applies to nearly all employees, full-time, part-time, and temporary, regardless of how you are paid, by cash, piece rate, or salary. Piece rate occurs when workers are paid by the unit performed, or simply when an employee gets paid by the piece instead of being paid on the basis of time spent on the job. So some piece rate examples can include carpet layers being paid by the yard of carpet laid, or technicians being paid by the number of cable units installed. Okay. So who else is covered? Per diem workers, per diem meaning you would receive your pay by the day. Seasonal workers are also covered. Nonprofit workers, domestic workers, homemaker/home health aid workers, supervisors and managers. And these are all regardless of citizenship status. Also employees who work in New Jersey, but your employer is out of state. So for example, if your company is located in Texas, but you work remotely in New Jersey, it is likely that you are covered under this law. However, it depends largely on how much time the employee spends working in New Jersey. Okay. So who else is covered? Again, all employers, regardless of number of employees, are covered. Nonprofits are also covered. Faith-based organizations, restaurants, farms, child care centers, nearly all employers. Okay, so once again, employers must provide earned sick leave to full-time and part-time employees. Okay, so who is not covered? The following people will not receive sick leave under this law. So this would include union construction workers under a collective bargaining agreement. This would also include most per diem healthcare workers. It would also include public employees who are provided sick leave with full pay pursuant to any state law, rule, or regulation. And independent contractors are also not covered. Okay, so this is what the notice of employee rights looks like. The notice of employee rights is required to be posted in the workplace. So every workplace should have this available on display at their work. Okay, so if you are a covered employee, your employer must also give you a written notice of your rights to earn sick leave. Okay, how does sick leave accrue, or how is it accumulated, or how is it gathered? So 1 hour is accrued for every 30 hours worked, or your employer has the option to provide a lump sum/advance. And your employer can limit usage to 40 hours per benefit year. Benefit year meaning any regular and consecutive 12-month period of time determined by your employer. Okay, so when can we use our earned sick leave? So if you, so we can use it to care for ourselves and family. We can use it for physical and mental health or injury or wellness care. We can also use it to get the COVID-19 vaccine and or recover from side effects. We can also use it for matters of domestic or sexual violence. So if you or a loved one are experiencing domestic or sexual violence, you can use earned sick leave to cope. Permitted uses as a victim or survivor or for supporting a victim/survivor include seeking medical attention, include therapy, counseling, victim advocacy, or legal services. This also includes safety planning or escaping abuse, such as staying in a domestic violence shelter. It also includes attending or preparing for court, or it can include recovering at home. Okay, so earned sick leave can also be used to attend a school meeting for your child, and it can also be used for public health emergencies that close to work or the school or place of care of your child. Okay, so what is the definition of family? So the state of New Jersey has a very generous definition of what family means. So the law recognizes the following individuals as family members for the purposes of earned sick leave law. So this includes your child, whether being biological, adopted, or foster child, your stepchild, legal ward, child of a domestic partner or civil union partner. This also includes your grandchild, sibling, spouse, domestic partner, or civil union partner, your parent, grandparent, and it also includes your spouse, domestic partner, or civil union partner of an employee's parent or grandparent. And it also includes a sibling of an employee's spouse, domestic partner, or civil union partner. So any individual related by blood to the employee. Any individual whose close association is the equivalent of family. Okay, so there are two kinds of sick leave. We have scheduled and unexpected. So for scheduled or planned sick leave, this is when an employee has planned to use sick leave, for example, if they have a doctor's appointment for wellness care. And in this instance, your employer may require 7 days advance notice. Okay, so the other type of sick leave is unplanned or unexpected sick leave. And this is when an employee is unable to reasonably anticipate their need for leave. For example, if your child wakes up sick or if you wake up sick. And in this case, your employer may only require that the employee notifies the employer as soon as possible. Okay, so how are we paid for our sick days? We are paid the same rate we normally earn, not including overtime. Although different calculations exist for the following types of employees. So for tip workers, multiple rates of pay, piecework, and commission. Your employer is required to pay you in the same or next pay period, and the pay must come with your regular paycheck or another method that can be deposited or cashed easily. Okay. So here are some rules for employers. If an employee has a need for earned sick leave, an employer may require documentation only when an employee has used 3 or more consecutive days, or if it's a high volume period for the business, or there is a special event. Okay, and so it is important to note that your employer cannot require documentation for 1 or 2 days of absence. Okay, rules for employers continued. An employer cannot discipline an employee who uses earned sick leave for a permitted reason. An employer is not allowed to require an employee to find coverage when using earned sick leave or make up the hours. Retaliation is against the law. So what can retaliation look like? This can look like being disciplined, being discharged, being demoted, being suspended, a loss of reduction or pay, or any other adverse action. So some examples include refusing to permit a worker to take an overtime shift. Can also include changing an employee's schedule, changing an employee's type of work, or implementing a timekeeping system. Okay, so what happens to unused sick leave? So unused leave time at the end of a benefit year is either carried over or brought back by the employer. Up to 40 hours can be carried over per benefit year. Employees are permitted to have more than 40 hours of earned sick leave in their leave bank. However, an employer is permitted to limit them to 40 hours usage or carryover per year. Okay, if you believe your rights are being violated, we urge you to visit mysickdays.nj.gov. There you will find the Notice of Employee Rights in 11 different languages. You will find one-page overviews. You will also find FAQs or frequently asked questions, and you can also find other helpful resources. There you will also be able to find and download a complaint form online. Okay, so for filing a wage and hour complaint, you can file a complaint for free online at myworkrights.nj.gov. You can also do this by mail or fax. So this is the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development, their address, their PO box, their fax number. You can also print a paper form at nj.gov/labor/file. And here are some tips on filing a complaint. So a trusted person may file on your behalf or help you file. However, groups of employees must file separate complaints. You will have to supply your current address, contact information, description of the claim, and any supporting documentation. For example, your time records, your pay stubs, your checks. Okay, you should answer accurately and submit copies, not originals, of all relevant documents. You may also be asked to provide additional details, for example, your employer information or your hours worked. Okay, so for farm workers, you would email farms@dol.nj.gov to tell us that you've filed or to get help. And for any other questions for the New Jersey Department of Labor, you can call them at 609-292-2305, or you can email them at wage.hour@dol.nj.gov. The New Jersey Department of Labor will make sure and will make every effort to provide assistance in your language. Okay, so confidentiality and filing anonymously. If you filed a complaint or if you are a witness that provided a statement, the New Jersey Department of Labor will protect your name and identifying information to the maximum extent allowable under the law. To file anonymously, you would file by mail or fax. You would write anonymous in the name section of the complaint form and leave the address blank. If you do file this way, you won't receive information about your complaint or you won't be able to check its status. Okay, so protection from retaliation. Employers may not retaliate against you for filing a complaint. It is against the law. So employers that break the law can face fines and penalties, and you can learn more about this at myworkrights.nj.gov. The New Jersey Department of Labor employees do not ask any questions about immigration or citizenship and serve all workers regardless of their status. The New Jersey Department of Labor will not share any information from an investigation with any federal immigration agency unless legally required to do so. Okay, and here is just an overview of our New Jersey work rights and benefits. Okay, and some other benefits offered by the state as well. So for myworkrights.nj.gov, you will find their info on info for tipped workers, for farm workers, for domestic workers. You will also find more information on misclassification and on a safe and healthy workplace. For New Jersey paid family and medical leave, you can visit myleavebenefits.nj.gov. For job-related injuries, you can visit newjersey.gov/labor/workers compensation. And for to learn more about how New Jersey law prohibits discrimination at work, you can visit njcivilrights.gov. Okay, so once again, it is important to remember that we have the right to be paid. So we are due the full amount of wages owed for all hours worked and no less than the applicable state minimum wage. So for overtime, most workers are owed 1.5 times regular hourly rate of pay for hours worked over 40 hours a week. For public construction, workers, for example, schools, buildings, roads, contractors must register with the state and pay prevailing wages. For misclassified as independent contractors or paid cash off the books, you are not at fault, but you could be deprived of work rights and other benefits. Misclassified employees may be entitled to a financial award. Again, you can learn more on myworkrights.nj.gov. Okay, and here's a little more on New Jersey work rights and benefits. So the benefit of New Jersey paid family and medical leave is cash benefits to care for yourself and loved ones, although this benefit does require a valid Social Security number. Your job may be protected under federal/state law. So again, you would visit myleavebenefits.nj.gov to learn more on that. For any job-related injuries, you can visit nj.gov/labor/workers' compensation because you may be eligible for workers' compensation. Okay, and to learn more on a safe and healthy workplace, you can visit nj.gov/labor/safety and health. For this, employers must follow state and federal OSHA standards. And again, to learn more about how the New Jersey law prohibits discrimination at work, you would visit newjerseycivilrights.gov. Okay, and with that, we have reached the end of our presentation. So now we are just going to do a quick exercise just to make sure that the key information was retained. Okay, so I'll ask a couple questions and let's see if you guys can answer them. Okay, so just give me 1 second to pull up the questions. Okay, so the first question I have for everyone is, what are other terms that can be used to refer to earned sick leave? So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to answer. Yes, so we have a response from Raul. He says paid time off. Yes, that would work. We also have paid sick leave, paid sick time. Yes, Andres said paid sick day. That is correct. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is another question that we have here. So when can an employee use earned sick time? Again, I'll give you guys a couple minutes. Yes, you guys are all correct. Thank you so much for answering. Ileana said for doctor visits. Yep, to care for ourselves and family, correct. And when your son is sick, absolutely. Perfect. Okay, so yes, and for school meetings. Correct. Okay, so let's move on to our next question. What is the definition of family under the earned sick leave law? Yes, and I do see a question asked earlier by Daniela asking, what can I do if my employer retaliates against me? Thank you to my colleague Angie for answering. you would have to file a complaint online or by paper with the Department of Labor. Okay. Yes, Andres answered to my question of what is the definition of family? Anyone who I consider a family member. Yes, basically. Again, the definition for family in the state of New Jersey is very generous. Okay, so next question. What are the two types of sick leave? Yes, correct. So Marcella answered planned and unplanned. That is correct. So planned sick leave, such as for doctor's appointments, and again, for this type of sick leave, your employer can require up to 7 days advance notice. And unplanned sick leave is also correct. That's the other type. So for this, for example, if your child wakes up sick, or if you wake up sick, or anybody in your family member is sick and you have to take care of them, that would apply. Okay, our next question is, what can retaliation look like? Yes, correct. So retaliation can look like having your schedule changed. Daniela, thank you for answering. That's correct. And Madeline getting demoted. Yep, that is also correct. Okay, so retaliation can look like being disciplined, being discharged, demoted, suspended, having a loss or reduction of pay, or any other adverse action. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. That was great. Somebody just asked, sorry, when do I need to provide a sick note? So that would only be after 3 days of absence. So your employer cannot require a sick note for 1 or 2 days of absence. Only after the third day they are able to. Okay. Okay, perfect. Does anybody else have any last minute questions before we wrap up? No problem. Okay, perfect. Okay, so with that, we have reached the end of our presentation. Okay, just to conclude, I'd like to once again thank everyone for joining, and we hope this presentation was informative and well received. We urge you all to also help us get the word out on earned sick leave law, because once again, knowing about our rights and what benefits we are entitled to is not only important, but necessary. Okay, so thank you everyone so much. Take care and happy holidays.